only just begun.
What is good, my wonderful viewers at home? It is me, Rox, and today I'm going to be looking at the latest chapter of One Piece. Yes, that is right. I do actually still review One Piece chapters. I know. Big news, right? So, today it is 1072, The Weight of Memory. Now, opening cover page, we find out new information about Mads, and, well, not really new information. We just see Queen, Caesar, and Judge. That's quite interesting, to say the least. But we actually start off at the opening of Egghead Island, where we learn the rather extensive catalog of abilities that Bonnie can actually use. So obviously there's her changing her own age, which we all know, but there's also Disordered Future, which is the newest ability, which is where she turns herself muscular, and considering the way the ability works, like, it is a more muscular form. My guess is that she pushed herself up, and while she did that, she aged herself rapidly. So it's like, this is just a theory right now, but my guess is she ages herself while she does something, and she ages only certain parts. So she aged her muscles while she was pushing herself up, meaning that from the perspective of the body, the muscles, it would almost be like the muscles had been pushing straight up for 20 years, forcing them to be really buff and ripped and all that. Now, after that, we don't really see anything too impressive from her, but she is able to hit. She's able to make contact with Vegapunk, and that forces him to lose years of his life, and they show up as physical representations, which is a new version of her ability. And fun fact is, they're actually like the physically representing years independently. So Vegapunk goes from maybe 1 to 200 years old down to a kid, and like 10 to 15 objects fall out of him. So it seems almost as if for every 10 years she takes out of someone, she takes away a physical object, which is interesting and a new way of looking at things. Now, we also find out that her ability is just sort of non-permanent. So, A, it wears off over time, and B, that most likely means that Bonnie is, like, young, and she can't, like, there's no escaping it. She's not immortal, which is good, because then that creates less plot holes, and considering Gear 5 exists, we already have a few of those already. Now, we cut over to the Red Port, which is where we see Kuma, and we find out a little more. Bonnie was pressuring to find out Kuma's secret. He couldn't tell him, and that's overlapped with Kuma fighting for his life pretty much against the Marines. And this is kind of like, Kuma's technically alive, but right now everyone considers him dead because all of his memories are gone and his personality is gone and basically everything. So there's that. But this, I think Kuma is going to physically die, as in his body is going to be destroyed. My guess is, considering Oda does like hitting us in the emotions, it's clear that the memories of Kuma have been stored inside the lab using his fruit And we actually see that in a flashback this chapter, which is where we also see a young Kuma. And oddly enough, young Kuma is really just... I don't know how else to describe it. He kind of looks like he belongs in the DCAU. Like, he looks like he should be standing, like, beside Superman. He kind of has that character design. And I know that's a weird thing to say, but I'm not shading it in the slightest. It's just Kuma in modern day, he's a little chubby, he's a little fat, you know, he looks weird, and that's kind of one of the things of One Piece. With young Kuma design, he looks more like a normal, like, almost superhero-like. And with that superpower that he has, he used it to store his memories. Now, Bonnie is actually going to interact with this. We don't know the repercussions in there, but I'm guessing that Oda is going to hit us in the feels. So Bonnie is either going to see it and then learn all about Kuma, or when she touches it, it's going to go back to Kuma, and then he's going to die as himself with his memories intact. Personally, I like the one where it just naturally goes back to him. Granted, that would be a little different for what the fruit has implied to do, but then again, devil fruits kind of make no sense sometimes. Like, they are first and foremost a plot element more than anything else, and Oda is very fast and loose when it comes to devil fruits most of the time, so obviously there are exceptions, but I think something like that is not out of the realm of possibility. So yeah. Now, after all this is going on, we cut back, and basically the lab is still under siege, so thankfully that wasn't a dropped plot point. All the pacifistas are losing their mind. We get a few little snippets of a character from each contestant, and there's nothing really bad, I'd say. We do see Zoro with Enma. That's nice. Honestly, with how Wano ended, I'm surprised Zoro even got Enma. I'm surprised they didn't try to take that back too. But as it turns out, Kaku is an awakened devil fruit user. Yeah. It's crazy. And then he proceeds to fight and have a pretty good clash with Zoro, which is nuts. So, yeah. And we know he's awakened because of the black flames on his neck, which is something that Rob Lucci also has. And the flames around the body are the same pattern that's around Luffy, and it's the same pattern that's around Lucci, and the same pattern that's around Kaido. So, yeah. So we have an awakened devil fruit user, an awakened devil fruit user, an awakened devil fruit user, awakened devil fruit user because Brook is most likely awakened, and then we have a drunk man with swords. You know, some heavy hitters on this island, as you can all tell. So, all of that's happening. The pacifistas are going nuts. Everything is going insane. Everything. And, you know, it's all chaos. Zoro hasn't dealt with Kaku yet. The fight seems to go decent. It's not... I do not think Kaku would press Zoro very hard right now. And then something else happens. We see Suzy just take a little nibble. She just nibbles on Kaku. Just a little nibble on his neck. Just chomp. You just hear the sound. It's literally chomp. And that's it. And then he just drops. He drops. And that's it. He's out of it. This man. It's weird because when I first saw it, I'm like, hold on. What is going on? But nope, just a little nibble on his neck. Just dead. Not dead, but knocked out. And then, so as it turns out, Susie is a clone of someone and was made by Mads and infiltrated everything. And on top of that, she has a devil fruit, and that devil fruit is most likely what showed up in the opening page today. I'm guessing that's what it was. And it's like, this is kind of crazy. Like, really, really crazy. Like, what? Like, why? And I don't get it, man. I really don't understand. It's nuts. But I kind of dig it. So as it turns out, Miss Buckingham, yep, Miss Buckingham, is a character we have not met. I was just doing a little research on it, and I did research a little bit right after I finished that section. And no, she's a completely new, completely original character. We've never met her before. Still kind of nuts, still kind of dirty. This kind of gives us, I don't want to say an indication of how strong Rox is, because it's not. But if this was the average Rox crew member, that kind of says a lot about everything. And I'd be scared. I know we were all joking about how Garp is gonna become top 1 next chapter. But like, Susie just slatted her way into the top 30 just then and there. Like, it's such an odd thing. I'm so excited for it, but at the same time, no one had any, like, look, we all thought there was something up with her. We all thought that. But we didn't think this. I don't know who was like, oh yes, she's a vampire member of the Rox Pirates. Nope. Plus, we might also get to find out more about Rox this arc. That's pretty crazy. Maybe this arc we'll actually get to see Rox's face. So when people start putting him on their top 30, then we can at least see what he looks like. Isn't that nice? I bet it would be too. Alright, so after all that, after all the goofy talk, what do I rate this chapter? Well, this chapter is really good, as you can probably guess. Also, that twist at the end, very good. I'm really excited to see it. I honestly, pacing good, artwork good, paneling, everything sort of leads well into one another. Granted, I am looking at this through a computer monitor, so the thing about One Piece is, if you were to look at this in volume form, it would be a little bit small in this format, because, well, when you see a manga page and then you see how small it is, so stuff like that, it's not like, there are certain shots that are really, really small that I think do not deserve to be, but that's relatively nitpickish, especially when the story is keeping you entertained. Now, with all that being said, it's still a 9 out of 10. It's still really good. And without further ado, I hope you guys have a good day, and like and subscribe if you've already made it this far. Peace.